Thanks for joining the law office of Don Dennis. I am attorney Don Dennis, and I am here to share with you valuable information that is quite beneficial because this channel focuses on how the law affects you, your business transactions, and also your image. Today, as you can see from the title, we're talking about I'm wrong, but still right. And as you can see in the picture, it says he's not crazy. All content that you hear that comes out of this channel is always rated R for real. So if you don't want to hear the real, you don't want to hear the truth, please cover your ears right now because it's not rated PG for playing games with anyone. Today, we're talking about Kim Foxx. Miss Foxx is the state of Illinois Attorney General for Cook County, and she manages the second largest prosecutor's office in the United States. She is an elected official, and as you will soon learn from all of her many accomplishments, she is a dedicated, diligent professional. Some of the things that she's accomplished while in office include bail and pretrial detention reform, so that people in jail because of small amounts and small fines, including $1,000, can be released and don't have to sit there. So this is a very great improvement that she made to help out people. In addition, she's reduced incarceration rates. Also, she worked hard to overturn wrongful convictions of people that might not have had a chance had she not intervened. She drafted legislation, which are laws, to allow for the review of police shootings, where the state attorney's office decided not to prosecute the officers. Well, she worked hard on that to be able to draft that law. In addition, she supported the legalization of weed or marijuana and the expungement of low-level marijuana convictions. So as you can see, she has been quite active. She grew up in Chicago in the housing projects. She had a rough upbringing. However, she's using and has a demonstrated history of using her office to help empower others and to empower the less fortunate and the marginalized people throughout her county. Unfortunately, according to the Flossmoor Police Department records, her husband, Kelley Foxx, called 911 to get the police out to their house at around 10:09 p.m. on June the 4th. And when the police showed up, both he, Kelley, and his wife, Kim, were outside waiting on them. Her husband, Kelley, told the police that his wife was mad about something that he posted on Facebook. So she asked him to leave their house, and he refused. They've been married approximately 20 years. Then he told the police she blocked him from leaving a bathroom. She grabbed him by his collar and threw down his video game controller. He then tried to turn on the television, and she snatched the controller out of his hand and threw the controller. Now, the interesting thing, according to the police report, is when the police showed up, one officer was talking to her and another officer was talking to him. And she overheard everything that I just said while he was talking to the police officer. And she blurted out, all of that is true. A lot of times there's always the situation where there's two sides to every story, or everything is an allegation until it's proven true. But in this situation, she heard what was said and said, according to the police officer's report, all of that is true. Then the police went on to talk to both of them about domestic violence. They provided them some information, some paperwork on domestic violence, because when the police show up, they want to make sure everyone's safe. And in the midst of talking to them, they asked Mrs. Foxx, they said, look, do you feel safe here in your house? And her response was, he's not crazy. Now, what exactly are we saying when the police pull up and they say, look, there's a lot of things going on at the house. Do you feel safe? It seems like they're trying to make sure the welfare and well-being of everyone will be intact. that they're not going to leave and someone's going to get hurt or someone's in fear for their life. And it was weird to me that in that report, despite him calling the police and alleging that she is the aggressor, and she even admitting to various things that he said that she did, they don't ask him, does he feel safe? They ask her, does she feel safe? And her response is, he's not crazy. So what does that mean? Does that mean that she's saying he knows not to ever put his hands on me or to attempt to do any of the things that I've just admitted to doing, such as blocking me from leaving a bathroom the same way I blocked him, grabbing me by my collar the same way I grabbed him, throwing down a video game controller the same way I did that to him, snatching something out of my hand the same way I did that to him? You know that. So does that mean when she said he's not crazy, he knows not to even think or imagine trying to do any of those things to me? You know, after he made those statements and she said all of those things are true, the discrepancy came about because he told the police she slapped him on the left cheek. So the police, I believe, pulled out a flashlight. They started examining his face. They said they didn't see any marks on him. So they can't necessarily substantiate that. She admitted that she put her hands on him. However, she said she was only trying to guide him out of the house and she didn't slap him. But she admitted to doing all the other things that we talked about. Now, from a legal perspective and from a more professional perspective, let's talk about some important issues that we're seeing here. According to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, there are multiple types of abuse. One type of abuse is physical abuse, which includes trapping someone inside of their home. Here, Kelley Foxx, Mrs. Fox's husband, stated that he was trapped and blocked in the bathroom, and she admitted to doing that. It seems like that is quite logically physical abuse. In addition, it says, according to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, emotional abuse includes acting jealous, monitoring someone's activities, attempting to control them. It appears that, according to his police report, all of this occurred. In addition, they have something called digital abuse. Digital abuse includes, according to their definition, using social media to track the behavior of someone, telling someone who they can and cannot follow or what they can and cannot do. So this qualifies as digital abuse if what in fact we're hearing is the case. Now, anyone, man or woman, if you're a victim of any type of domestic abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, digital, or anything else, you need to get help because this is a very serious matter. But what we're talking about here is we don't want anyone, regardless of their position, to feel empowered that they can act in any way that they want and there are no consequences or repercussions. Mrs. Foxx, if in fact she did these things, is not the first person or first elected official to ever do something like this. So it happens all the time. However, I believe she might be under increased scrutiny for any action that she commits for the simple fact of all the positive things that I started off the video by saying that she's accomplished and done for the community, because a lot of people don't like that she's been doing those things. So they're looking for an opportunity to come against her. And when you are in an elevated position, whether a business owner, whether elected official, attorney, or a judge, there's going to be a higher level of scrutiny on you. And people are going to be looking for ways to disparage or diminish your credibility and your name. So what are some of the things from a legal perspective or from an attorney's perspective that she has to be aware of? First of all, she has prosecutorial authority, meaning that she has the power to decide cases that are going to be prosecuted and cases that are not going to be prosecuted. If you recall, she came under a lot of scrutiny a few years ago with her handling of the Jussie Smollett case. So therefore, because a lot of people didn't like how she handled that, they're going to be scrutinizing her. Well, what's going on here? What did you do? Are you abusing someone? Are you a domestic violence aggressor towards other people? And if so, you need to step down or you need to be prosecuted. So because she's been in that position so long, unfortunately, she subjects herself to that higher level of scrutiny. In addition, credibility is now going to be at issue for her. It's going to be hard for her to be in a position where she maintains order when these type of situations are going on. Now, people are looking to her as a role model, as a leader, and no one is perfect. We're all humans. However, people hold people that have certain titles and positions to higher regard and to a higher standard, even if they themselves can in no way meet that standard, even if they themselves have family members and others that don't meet that standard. Another thing that we have to look at is the fact that sometimes there is a discrepancy between how men are treated by the law, especially with respect to domestic violence, and how women are treated. If in fact, most people would agree, or many people might agree, and it's arguable, maybe you don't agree with me, but it seems that if a man a woman called the police on a man and said, hey, he has blocked me from using the bathroom. He has grabbed me by my collar. He's thrown down something that was in my hand. He snatched something else in my hand and he slapped me. It does not seem the police would say, hey, to the man that was alleged to have done all that, do you feel safe? And that man would not have been arrested. It seems like it would have been a heightened level of scrutiny. It seems most likely that that individual would have got arrested. It seems most likely if a case like this made it to Mrs. Fox's office and it was on her desk, she might press charges. And so there is a little bit of an issue with respect to if the law is being applied equally and fairly. As an attorney, one of your most coveted possessions is your bar license. You do not want anything, whether it's a criminal charge, as a felony or a misdemeanor, to jeopardize that license. And so when you have allegations like this, and you have, if this turns into some type of criminal charge against her, that is something that could jeopardize her license. And attorneys always have to be very careful and responsible with that to make sure that all the hard work they put into getting this license is not thrown out the window because of how you acted in a brief moment or in a couple of minutes. In addition, Mrs. Foxx is an elected official. I stated that at the beginning of the video because as an elected official, she most likely will have to run for re-election. Elected officials are not in office forever. So what is an opponent going to look to do? They're going to look up to bring up negative and dirt on the person to try to disparage their campaign and say, look, this is not the ideal person for this position. So now when you have situations like this, you make your job even harder. You make things rougher for your campaign. Are you going to go out and campaign and say, hey, look, please contribute money, please believe in me? And people can turn around and say, well, I don't know if you're the best person to be the prosecutor, to be in this position where you decide the fate of other people if you can't even keep things straight at your own home. So you're making it harder for yourself. Lastly, something that we have to consider is what if this happened to your son, your brother, your male cousin that you beloved deeply? How would you want them to be treated by the law? Would you want them to be brushed aside? Or do you think that charges should be pressed or made against that person, or the person that was the aggressor, if it was a female, be prosecuted? So it's just food for thought, something to think about when we're talking about the Me Too movement, when we're talking about believing people and holding everyone accountable under the law. We have to look at it without a veil in front of our eyes and without being biased. Because if we're against domestic violence, if we're against people treating people unfairly, then we have to equally and uniformly apply this to everyone. In general, Mrs. Foxx has been married for over 20 years, and it also stated the police have never came out to their house. So therefore, maybe they just had something that happened in a moment, and we want to be understanding to that, but at the same time, we want to protect people's safety. So we do hope since they do have 4 daughters, that they're able to get past this situation. We hope that they have peace in their home, and we hope that they can move past that and she can continue all of the great work that her record shows she has been doing. Again, I want to thank you. I ask that you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, continue to monitor this channel, because we talk about on this channel the importance of how our behavior and our actions shape our business transactions, and how we want to protect our image at all times and use prudence and wisdom in our interactions with others. I thank you for subscribing. I thank you for liking this video. And again, I'll see you next time.